Hey guys, Professor Korean here. Today's lesson is going to be about why I think Peach and Daisy are the strongest characters in today's metagame and all their pros and their cons. So first I'll start with going into the pros about Peach, then going into the cons later on. The first thing I want to talk about is damage output. This character can deal a lot of damage on stage and has a lot of moves that can lead into this damage. At earlier percents you can land down tilt, dare, any of your float cancel aerials, and usually string it into more aerials and end off the combo with some kind of grab into down throw aerial. So it's kind of insane. The damage racks up really quick for this character, and that's such an important aspect to have in Ultimate. The next thing I want to go over is her corner pressure. Now if you've seen a top level Peach like Samsora Slayers play, you can see the corner pressure is absolutely insane. Float cancel back air is such a great tool for pressuring shield, and when you have someone in the corner, they can't really run away anymore, so they either have to try to fight their way out or try to use defensive options to get out. And Peach is so good at covering multiple options when she's corner pressuring someone because of float cancel aerials having so little lag. Another aspect of Peach that's very strong is her movement. She has pretty good grounded movement in terms of dashing, but what makes her very unique in terms of movement is her float. So she can float, pressure you from above. She can also use float cancel to get back onto the ground. So combined with her ground movement, her aerial movement has a lot of mix-ups and can be very hard to deal with and track. So the next thing I'm going to talk about, I think, is one of the strongest aspects of Peach, and it's how she handles disadvantage and advantage state. With float and turn up, she can push advantage state insanely well. There's only one air dodge in this game, so when she puts someone off stage, she can start chucking turnups, and if you use your air dodge for a turnup, then Peach can just simply go out there and edge guard you with one of her very strong aerials off stage. And it's just so hard to deal with because she can also use float combined with turnups when pushing advantage state. She can throw the turnip, she can use the float to stay in an area where your character will eventually have to go to, and she can just sit there, float, and then react to what you're gonna do, and then simply put out the aerial after staying there with the float. It's very strong aspect. Peach can also nullify disadvantage really well. She can use float while she's in a juggle situation or even off stage to kind of wait out your resources, and once she sees you double jump or just use any of your big resources off stage, she can just wait it out with float and then come back in and come to safety. So it's a really good resource to have in terms of disadvantage, and Ultimate is a game that's all about pushing disadvantage. So when you have a character that has tools to nullify that disadvantage, that's a really big deal, and you have to take account for that when fighting against Peach. The next thing I want to talk about is her kill power. This character hits absurdly hard, and you guys already probably know what move I'm talking about. That forward air, that crown slap hits really hard. It does a lot of damage, and it can kill you ridiculously early. And she actually has setups into this ridiculously strong move. If she gets a dare, like a floating dare off stage, she can usually combo it into the fair, will kill you really early. So there are some situations where she can set up into this really strong move, or she can just land it like in neutral, and it's just a very strong move to have. And having kill power in this game is so important. There's a lot of situations in Ultimate where I see people living to absurdly high percents just because they're doing a really good job not getting killed in disadvantage or just playing neutral really well. So when you have a move that can just close out stocks at a reasonable percent, that's a very amazing tool to have. Another great thing on the defense that Peach has is she's floaty, so she's not a heavy character or she's not a fast faller character, so you're not going to get comboed really hard. And she also has a very quick nair, so even if you do try to combo her, she can just simply nair out of the combo, which is, again, a really strong aspect to have in Ultimate, just because when you can nullify your opponent's on-stage damage, that's such a strong tool to have. The last thing I want to go over is something I feel like a lot of people aren't really talking too much about, and it's having a strong out-of-shield option that covers behind you. Pikachu and Pichu have really quick back air out of shields that scoop really low, and Peach also has this. Now when you have an out of shield option that covers behind you that's really quick, hits very low, that's such a good thing to have because there's so much characters that set up cross up situations in this game, and just crossing up is very strong in this game because the shield's done so good. So usually you can cross up your opponents, start pressuring them from behind with block strings, but if you just have a very quick out of shield option that hits behind you, that kind of nullifies that, and they have to go for some kind of other game plan against you when you have that strong out of shield option from behind. All right. So at this point, Peach sounds like absurdly broken, but she does have weaknesses for sure. So let's start going over the cons. Now, I was talking about how good float is and how good you can pressure people from above with float on their shield, but it can be a little harder to set those situations up against characters with very fast air-to-air game. So if your character has really quick aerials that can contest Peach in the air, or just have like some kind of disjoint or range with your aerials combined with speed, generally if your character just has good air-to-air, it can be a lot harder for Peach to set up that float pressure from above and come down onto you with her hitboxes. Now she is floaty, but she's also a lightweight, so you can kill Peach pretty early. She does have a lot of tools to nullify disadvantage, but if you do get that solid read, you can be killing Peach pretty early. Like I said, she's just a lot lighter than most characters. The last two things I'm going to go over for cons is going to be not so much in the game, but outside the game. So this character, I think, in my opinion, is one of the healthier top tiers that we have in Ultimate so far. She has a very high skill cap. Now, when you're watching like Samsora or Slayers play Peach and it's just totally mind-blowing, keep in mind that they've been playing Peach for over 10 years. So they have a lot of Peach experience within many different Smash games, and now they're just applying Peach experience with with their Ultimate knowledge and trying to adapt it into the new game. So I'm very excited to see how they push the character. And like I said, it's just a very high skill cap character. So this is not a top tier where it's like, oh hey, I want to play Peach, and like next week you're winning your local. It takes a lot of skill to play this character, and that's something I really enjoy. So the reason why this character's high skill cap is because you have to press a lot of buttons really fast. It can be very strenuous on your hands. All these float cancel pressure situations, you're inputting a lot of inputs insanely quick, and you right after the float cancel aerial, you have to go right into another float cancel aerial to obtain like this crazy pressure and all these really quick aerials. So it can hurt your hands, and if you're not experienced, it can be a little strenuous, and just putting strains on your hand, it can be not so great for the long term. And yeah, I mean, it's really hard to keep doing that. So that is another con to playing the character, especially if you think about like a 3-day event. You have to play a lot of matches in bracket. You also have to warm up. It can be very strenuous, and over time, it's hard to keep that consistency with your character if your hands are starting to hurt. Maybe you played all day, going to the next day, your hands still hurt from the day before. It can be hard to keep that up. So that is another con that you do have to think about when debating about picking up this character. That's all for today's lesson. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions, make sure to leave your questions in the comment section below, or you could just DM me on Twitter. I always try to get to every question I can and try to help you guys out learn as much as possible. Thank you.